Time for this week's Bears Now preview as the Chicago Bears head out west to face the Las Vegas Raiders. My name is Harrison Graham. Another big game. Listen, you had to win last week to get to 1-2. You need to win again to get to 500 heading into the bye week. Big game for the Raiders as well, as they are 1-2 on the season after dropping their last two games after winning in week 1. So both teams, I would imagine, are going to empty the tank in this one because you fall to 1-3, you're just digging yourself a bigger hole to get out of. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the train on the tracks here. Will the Bears want them to win again this week? Hit that like button. Come on, let's set a record for likes on these preview episodes, and let's get that dub. Okay, let's go through some team stats for each team. And, early in the season, these can kind of fluctuate a lot. It's kind of like a baseball player in April. If he's hitting 180 through 7 games, but then the next 2 games he goes 7 for 10, all of a sudden he's hitting, 305. So things can fluctuate. All of a sudden you're top 10 in scoring, 24.7 points per game. 29th in scoring defense. You are dead last, so good performance improves that a decent amount. Turnover margin +2 now after a 4 takeaway performance and 0 giveaways against Dallas. That's tied for 5th. And you're top 5 in third down offense and third down defense. Those are metrics. That's where you want to be in those key downs. So that is a very, very good thing. The Raiders are 26th in scoring. They have really struggled offensively. The offensive line has had major problems. Ashton Jeanty hasn't really been able to get going up to this point. Geno Smith has had some turnovers, which is why they're -1 in the turnover margin, tied for 20th. Their defense, 22nd in scoring. They struggled against Washington, but I thought the first 2 weeks their defense played pretty well. So I do think this will be a tougher task for the Bears offense on the road against the Raiders compared to Dallas at home. Raiders are 22nd in third down offense and tied for 13th in third down defense. Taking a look at the injury report, Colston Loveland dealing with a hip issue. It's not serious, but we'll see if he plays in this game. Ben Johnson said on Monday that kind of to be determined quite what his status is. They'll know more on Wednesday there. Adam Schefter reported it's not considered serious, and he has a chance to play in this game. So at most, he'd miss this game, but you'd like to have him out there. We'll see on Kyler Gordon and TJ Edwards, 2 key defensive starters. My gut tells me they probably will not play. Neither practiced last week, and with the bye week next week, seems like sitting him another week is probably most likely. Jaylon Jones dealing with the hamstring as well, so your secondary is still pretty thin there. We'll see what his status is. And then DeMarco Jackson, the kind of special teams linebacker, also dealing with a hammy. Michael Mayer for the Raiders, they don't have a lot of injuries right now. We'll see if some pop up on the Wednesday injury report, but Mayer suffered a concussion in the Week 3 loss to the Commanders. He's been off to a pretty good start this season next to Brock Bowers, so keep an eye on that one as well. All right, who has the edge in 8 different categories? I'll go push on head coach. I mean, it's just still a small sample size on Ben Johnson. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm glad Ben Johnson's our head coach over Pete Carroll, but Pete Carroll's no bum. He's been around for a long time, so I'll go push. I think most executives would take Ben Johnson at this point, but, I'm not going to disrespect Pete Carroll either, so I'll go push in that regard. Quarterback, I'm going to go Bears. Based on what we've seen this season, Geno, especially the last 2 weeks, has struggled. I know he threw 3 touchdowns and no picks on Sunday, but a lot of that was when the game was out of reach. You compare the numbers, Geno has more volume in terms of the passing yards, but that's largely due to playing from behind and them not being able to run the ball. Obviously, the Bears struggle to run the ball at times as well. But Caleb's just been a little bit more consistent. He's taking care of the football. Passer rating's much higher. He's more of a mobile threat as well. So I think right here, right now, you would take Caleb Williams in this game over Geno Smith. So, a lot of these games come down to which quarterback played better. So if Caleb can do that, feel good about the Bears' chances. Who is the better quarterback right now? Type CW for Caleb Williams, GS for Geno Smith. I would take Caleb, but, Geno's a good NFL quarterback. Certainly could see some GS answers. I'll go with the Bears skill set guys as well. I think we saw in week 3 different guys getting involved. Luther Burden, first career 100-yard game. The running backs are still struggling a bit, but Ashton Jeanty hasn't gotten going either for the Raiders. And we'll see on Colston Loveland's status still. You would give them the advantage with Brock Bowers over either of the Bears tight ends, but I think the Bears receiver room is notably better. Now, they do have some guys. Jacoby Myers is a good player. Trey Tucker can go, but they don't have as high of end of guys, in my opinion, as the Bears do. So I'll give the Bears the advantage in the skill room department. Okay, offensive line, also the Bears. It's still not perfect. It's not probably quite what they've paid for, but I think it's getting better. Braxton Jones is coming off his best game of the season. If Darnell Wright can just limit the penalties, I actually think he's having a pretty good year. Outside of that, the interior is obviously improved. Joe Thuney's excellent. And the Raiders, especially that interior offensive line, has really struggled. Other than Colton Miller, that whole unit has been below average, so I'll give Chicago the advantage there. Defensive line, I'll go push. Clearly, the Raiders have the best player in this game with Max Crosby on the defensive line, but I think after that, the Bears are probably better than the rest of the Raiders guys, but when you have a dominant force like Max, I think it's kind of an equalizer, so I'll go push in that regard. Linebackers, I'll give the Bears a slight advantage even without TJ Edwards, who I don't expect to play. Jamal Adams has actually played pretty well for the Raiders. They have a couple other guys in the mix there, but Tremaine Edmonds is coming off one of his best games as a pro. Noah Sewell's been really good for the Bears, especially in run support. Him making plays in the backfield against Ashton Genty will be important in this one, so I'll lean Chicago here. I'll go push in the secondary. The Raiders' secondary hasn't been that good. Obviously, the Bears has been banged up. If Kyler Gordon plays, maybe I would tilt it in the Bears' favor. But just because they play better against Dallas doesn't mean all of a sudden, like, this secondary is awesome. I still think, there's room to grow and, areas that the Raiders could attack here. And then I'll go push on special teams, too. The Raiders had a really poor Week 3 special teams performance. The Bears had a much cleaner one this week. So I'll go push. Nothing really drastic stands out either way for either team. So there you have it on who has the edge. We'll get to some keys to victory after we tell you about our sponsor, PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but being right on PrizePicks can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. It's very easy to play PrizePicks as you just pick more or less on stat projections on 2 to 6 player lineups. If you get your lineup right, you can win up to 2,000 times your money. That's right. Certain lineups can turn $10 into $28,000. PrizePicks also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. This week, Jalen Hurts is the max discount play that PrizePicks is offering, more than half a passing yard. I've used that in a 3-player lineup here. I do like Ashton Genty to find the end zone. I think the Raiders are going to try to get him going. And let's be honest, the Bears' run defense has not been very good. Give me the more on Rome Odunze, 61.5 receiving yards. Last week, he had 62. And that was with the drop and a couple other missed opportunities. And the Raiders secondary isn't great. So I like the more on Rome there. $20 lineup to win $105 on that 3-player lineup. Of note, max discount plays that PrizePicks offers, you can only use them once. You can only use them in one lineup. So choose wisely there. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Okay, some keys to victory for the Bears to get back to 500 at 2-2. Keep going deep. I know it sounds weird with all the deep ball issues last year, but this is a clear area of improvement for Caleb Williams so far, which is very nice to see and very nice to say. 7 of 14 so far, and that's with 2 drops credited per PFF, so really 9 of 14. That's excellent on 20-plus yard air throws that PFF qualifies as deep ball attempts. 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. A PFF deep passing grade of 92.8, which I tweeted out where all these rank in the NFL. I think that's 5th or 6th. Really, really good. It's much improved, the downfield throwing. I know it was a trick play, but that throw to Luther Burden, where he threw it in stride, 62 yards in the air, flat-footed, there's not many people on the planet that can even attempt that throw. So that's number one. But to also throw it with that accuracy was fantastic. He's thrown several of those like deep in and deep dig routes on the money, threw one to Luther in this game as well. He's hit Rome on a couple of those. Rome actually dropped one of those against Detroit in week 2. He's just much better down the field so far this year, which is huge because when you can threaten defenses vertically, it just frees everything up. Eventually, it's going to help get the run game going too, which will be nice. And just in this matchup, not only are the Bears having success against it, but the Raiders don't really have a true free safety. Jeremy Chin's a nice box safety player, but the guys they're working in there at free safety, they're backups. I think that's an area where you can find some double moves, kind of work some flood type of concepts like corner post and stuff like that. So I think there's opportunities there. And by the way, their corners, nothing really it's just like making me shaking my boots if I'm Caleb Williams, these receivers, and Ben Johnson. So I'd keep dialing up some downfield shots if I was Ben Johnson. Okay, number 2, get pressure with 4, which the Bears did a little bit of yesterday against Dallas, or on Sunday against Dallas, which is nice to see. I talked to our Raiders host, Mitchell Renz. He said teams are dropping 7, and they're getting consistent pressure with 4. That's nothing new for Geno Smith. That happened a lot in Seattle too. So he's used to that. But what he's not used to is not handling it as well. And he is not handling it as well this year. He's just 18 of 36. These are under pressure stats via PFF. That means when you're under duress, when the opposing team isn't blitzing. So 4 or less rushers. 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. His passer rating of 58.3, and he's been sacked 12 times against 4-man rushes or less. Now, obviously, the Bears' defensive line has been a polarizing topic. It's not exactly a group that, we're going to compare to the monsters of the Midway or anything like that. But I did think we saw some signs last week. Montez Sweat got home. He had a handful of pressures. Javon Dexter had 6 pressures. We haven't seen much from Dio Adengbo the last couple of weeks, so we'll see if he can get some pressures this week. Even Grady Jarrett had a couple nice reps. He baptized Tyler Booker on that one play, then kind of got screwed on the roughing the passer. Booker dragged him down into the quarterback, so that was unfortunate, but good to see him pop there. So you started to see some flashes there. So if you can get some pressure with 4 and drop 7, because you don't want to blitz too much in this game. Geno historically is pretty good against the blitz too, and you're obviously down some guys in the secondary. So if you can get some pressure with 4 and make Geno make some tough decisions, we know Geno's going to give you a chance or 2 every game to pick him off. He's already thrown 4 picks. Number 3, if you don't know the name Trey Tucker, get to know it. Do not let him loose. He is a dynamic, speedy receiver. 5'10", 5'11 guy, and he can go. 4'3", 40 guy. He just, in a game that got out of hand against Washington and they lost, he torched them. 8 for 145 and 3 touchdowns, had a long of 61. He's a problem. Now, he's not a consistent week-to-week. This isn't Tyreek Hill in his prime or anything like that, but he is capable of games like this. And let's face it, Tyreek Stevenson historically against receivers like this does not match up well. That would not be a matchup I would like. Nashawn Wright's a 6'3", 6'4 press man corner. Don't love that matchup either. This is a game you'd love to have Kyler Gordon back. I'm not expecting that, but I would like that matchup better. So you may just have to go some safety over the top against him, because you get him one-on-one in the wrong matchup, he can really make you pay. Out of the slot is where he primarily operates. Number 4, win the rushing battle. Neither of these teams are having a ton of success running the football. Ashton Genty isn't finding a lot of holes. A lot of his yards are after contact. That's one area he has been good. He's shedding a lot of tackles in the backfield, so he's turning like those negative 2-yard runs into 2 or 3-yard runs, but he hasn't gotten loose very much, and it's well documented for the Bears. The Bears running backs are averaging 3.4 yards per carry, but if you can win the battle on the ground, I think that would go a long way, because the passing game has been in a pretty good groove the last couple of weeks. And then lastly, get an early lead, because Geno has started to press these last couple of weeks when they fall behind. We saw it in the Chargers. He was big game hunting, threw a couple of unnecessary picks. Didn't throw any picks against Washington, but they were playing catch-up, and it was not efficient at all. I think you get an early 7-0, 10-0 lead. Bears fans are going to travel. You can kind of get the crowd on your side there at Allegiant Stadium. Puts a lot of pressure on a Raiders team who's lost 2 games in a row. So if you can hit these guys in the mouth early in the first quarter, I think the advantage shifts in your favor pretty dramatically. All right, predict the score. Bears, Raiders. Who you got winning the game, and what is your final score? I'm going to say Bears win again. I said if they lose last week, I couldn't pick them against Flus to lose, but I said if they lose last week, I will not pick them to win until they win a game. Well, they won. I like the Bears in this spot. I think Bears fans will travel. I'm not saying it'll be home field advantage, but I don't think it'll be too chaotic. Maybe I'll be wrong. We'll see in terms of the Raiders crowd. I got Bears 28-20. I think the offense is in a better spot right now. I think Dennis Allen found some solutions against Dallas that can carry over against the Raiders, especially if they can get some push on that defensive front with just four-man pressures, some stunts that you can work in there. So I think the Bears find a way to make a few more plays, earned a tough earned win, get back to 500 heading into the bye week, which would be absolutely massive.